Good morning! Good morning! Hi cubies and newbies, I am Sunshine. This is the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. I am the ABCube tutor. Formula A is 4 moves, Formula B is 8 moves. With those two patterns, that's all you need to solve every complexity Rubik's Cube, because that's all that you need. Formula A brings a piece to the top, twists corners around, and Formula B moves three pieces around, and that's all you ever need to do, no matter how complex your Rubik's Cube is. They are all solved, they can all be solved the exact same way. So from the 2x2, the 3x3, the void cube, the 4x4, the 5x5, even this 9x9, this 3x3x9 with Eden can also be solved using just Formula A and Formula B, with one minor adaptation, which I'll tell you when I get to that point. There's no parity algorithm. You don't need it. Parities are a lie, and the cubes are inherently honest, so you can play with parities if you want to, but you don't have to. Who wants to join me? The quick overview before I start is I'm going to demonstrate from a solved cube what these patterns do, so that you know when to use it and what it does. Top row, Formula A, if you hold the cube in your hands as if you're looking, and look at the front face as if you're looking at a spreadsheet with rows and columns, and then you look at the patterns, and the arrow represents the single slice that you're going to be turning, and the line represents the rest of the cube that's holding still. So Formula A is 4 moves. For every left there's a right, for every up there's a down. It's a mathematical 0. So you're only ever changing the pieces that you want to change. You're not ever messing up pieces that have gone before. So Formula A is one row, one column. It's the bottom row on the right column if you're working on corners. It's the middle row on the middle column if you're working on the absolute center. So you have one row, one column, and then you move in the direction the arrow indicates. So to move this piece to the top, okay, it's this row, this column, and so that's the piece that something is going to happen to, where the intersection of it is. So you move that piece out, move the space where it's going to land down, move the cube into that space, and the cube moves space back up again, and you have what we call boxes if you're working on the absolute center. Okay, 3 times get you back to where you were. Out, down, in, up. And the colors that it swaps are the top, front, right, and the opposite edges. The centerpiece is one piece internally, so it always stays relative to itself. Oh, the absolute center. For the corners, it's the bottom row on the right column, and that's going to move these pieces and twist it as it goes along. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. It does other things as well that we don't care about, because except for the first 4 corners, it's always done in a multiple of 6. So that means that the only things that are going to be affected are the ones you want to affect, and the rest of the cube will remain untouched. If you rotate the top layer when the cube looks the way you want it to work on another cube, then you're moving those 2 cubes. Okay, and then so top row, 2 columns for Formula B. In the outside columns moves these corners around, like so, up, up, down, down. Okay, these 3 corners. Once has the effect of going clockwise, twice has the effect of going counterclockwise, and 3 times puts it back to where it was, so you're never messing up. You're only ever affecting the top row. The rest of the cube is unharmed. Top row, and if you change the columns that you're using, it's still the same muscle memory pattern, but outside columns moves corners, inside columns moves edges, like so. Up, up, down, down. Always over one row, 2 columns. Okay. Up again, up. Once moves it one way, twice moves it the other way, and 3 times puts it back the way it was. So, and then if you move the 2 columns that you're moving are the inside columns, pick a piece that you want to move, from the front. It's going to land on the top, And the cube itself dictates what those two columns are, but they're going to be two inner columns. So you move this cube up, rotate to the top so it's in a different column. That's your second column up, down, down. Set the top, and you've moved. It looks like we've moved two pieces, but you've always moved three. First horizontal is to line it up so it's advantageous. Up, slide to a different column, second up, reverse down, and again it looks like we've moved two, but this piece went down to here, this piece went up, and this piece went down. So you're always moving three. The only you'll notice that there's no parity algorithm if you've ever played with the large cube. After you've learned the 3x3, the parity is what we call something that happens on a larger cube that can't happen on a 3x3, because the 3x3 was the original. The reason why it can't happen on a 3x3 is because every piece has one piece in one place and one place only where it is correct. And when you get to move to larger cubes, the center slices, the obliques, the diagonals, and the oblique centers can be correctly visually placed in one of four places rather than being only correctly placed in one place. So that means that it can look correct while one of the centers is a quarter turn off from where it wants to be. And what that does is it gives you a parity where it looks like there's two pieces and only two pieces that need to change. Meaning that they're in the wrong place, not that they're in the right place but flipped, but they actually need to be in a different place. And so whenever you see two pieces and only two pieces, there's always three. The third piece that you do not see is the third piece that you do not see. It is the center that touches that parity is a quarter turn off. Rotate that center a quarter turn and the parity disappears, poof. And then so you solve the edges in that orientation and then reset your centers. I do the centers last so I don't have to reset them. But so you can memorize the long parity algorithm, or you can just go outside in, and when you get to parity, slice it away, and then you don't have to worry about the parity algorithm at the end. That's the long and short of it. Let's see who's here. Good morning. Hi, you guys. Thanks for joining me. It's a Tuesday, I think. I scrambled my Gigaminx because I was going to race with Tube the Cuber, but then we ran out of time, so it's still scrambled in case I want to do that. The ABCube pattern, oopsie, sorry, hold still. ABCube pattern works on, not only does it work on every complexity Rubik's Cube, it also works on the Minxes as well. It also works on pyramids as well. I've only tried it on this pyramid. The larger ones, I'm assuming I'll be able to get to use Formula B on it, because this one I can do with just Formula A. Didn't need Formula B for this one. I'm thinking I haven't yet ordered the larger cubes, the larger Minxes, larger pyramids, so I can try to see how those work. There we have it. Anyone have any questions before I start, or should I just jump right into solving the scrambles? What I did yesterday has got as far as solving the. For every cube, no matter what it looks like, if it's a cube, it has 8 corners, and so. Since I can solve all of them the exact same way, so I start with the corners on all of them. That solves the 2x2, and for everything else, it sets the groundwork for what color each face is going to be. So I've already done this one, and I've done the yellow on all of these cubes yesterday, but I have not done the white. So the yellow is correct on all of these cubes. Yellow corners are correct. The next thing to do after the yellow corners are correct is to work on the second 4 corners, and we work on the corners 4 at a time. When you get to the other pieces, you're working with 3 pieces at a time. So they're all done the exact same way though, and so you just either any cube you place, the next step is to put the yellows face down and work on the second 4 corners. So the first thing to do is determine what color is in common to those 4 corners, It's the color that is inherently opposite of the yellows. I can line up this yellow here as well. So if it's a standardized colored cube, opposite yellow is white, but not all cubes are colored the same way. So for this one, there's no white on it anywhere. So so opposite yellow has to be another color. I can look at the corners and see what they have in common. This one, I already did these ones, so that it's red. It's a color that's, I'm going to sneeze. So sorry. It's a corner that does not touch the yellow. And so this one, the corners are all done. This one, the corners are all done. This one, we haven't done the white yet. Yellow is face down. Hi! So, a new chatter. How fast am I on the 3x3? I average about 1.5 minutes, but I have beaten the minute mark once or twice. So my personal best is 58 seconds, but I'm about 1.5 minutes on the 3x3. But that is down from 3 minutes back in 1981. So I've been cubing since it first came out. You average 13 seconds. That is just magical to me, because I watched the very first record competition live on TV when it happened, and it was 24.3 something seconds. And I was so intimidated I put the cube down, didn't touch it again. Now anyone who picks up the cube starts off with under 20 seconds as the goal. So yeah. But the cubes are different. Back then there was no cornering. There was no cornering. There was no finger tricks. The cube was clunky, and it had to be perfectly lined up in order to turn, and it took 2 hands to turn it. So there was no GAN, no Moyo, no magnets. I have a cube from that time period. I have 2 cubes from that time period, and I can show it to you if you're interested. But so. You speed demons, try doing it on a Rubik's Cube from the 80s and see how fast you can be. Yeah, this is the guy that set the first world record. It was when the second competition done, this became the United States record. But when it was the first one, it was the world record because it hadn't been done elsewhere. And so his name is Jeffrey Varasano, and he's an amazing person, runs a pizzeria now, still plays with a cube. And one day, it is my dream to one day meet him, because he is a hero of mine. Isn't that Mintai? This is Jeffrey Varasano. Mintai may have set the first international. This was the first world record holder was set with 1981, and it was in the U.S. and so it was just U.S. The very first competition, the only competition there was, he won, and so he was the world champion until it was held in China, and then there was another, then there was American champion and a world champion and an American champion. I believe that the second one, have I competed? I have not competed yet. But it is a dream of mine to do so. So yeah, but this guy, if you haven't seen, do yourself a favor, look him up on YouTube, Varasano. He does have a tutorial. It's about an hour long, but it just his brain is so beautiful. He talks you through intuitive things. Like, do whatever it takes to move this piece to the top, and then do this top number to twist, and then just repeat what you did before. And my brain doesn't work that way. I can't repeat I can't then just undo. I can't undo what I did unless I wrote it down. I should compete, and I thought that I had to be under a minute to compete, but I've been told that's wrong. But I just love, I think that our community is the greatest one in the world. I just love meeting cubers in the wild, and there's just like this, it's like, hey, you're my kind of nerdy. I understand you. So, it's great. It's great. You can go be as fast as you wish. I believe it is, yeah. So I was talking about the Rubik's Cube board. Yeah, go watch him. He's just fascinating. We are Facebook friends because I found him and I started fangirling on him. And he gave me he was kind enough to drop me a link to his Dropbox where he has all of his photos and notes from that time frame. And so I got to see him standing next to Erno Rubik at the going out for pizza, for spaghetti dinner or whatever, because he was the champion, and so he was invited to the toy competitions and toy conventions and things like that. And so I got to see his notes that he made the book from. He wrote the book from. When the 4x4 came out, he wrote another manuscript to publish as well. And they said, oh, we kind of think that the Rubik's Cube has kind of had its day. We don't think anyone's interested in the Rubik's Cube anymore. And so they turned him down. They didn't publish his book, but I got to see his notes, his original notes for that, and that was just amazing. So yeah, he's an amazing guy, from what little I know of him as being his fangirl. And he has a cat. He walks in and out of his videos. He's doing his video. So find that. That's your homework assignment. But when they took him to, I'm going to talk on him in a minute. They took him when the 4x4 first came out. The company invited him to the convention because he was a big name. And so they said, here's the new cube we're coming out with. And they handed him the 4x4. And they let him play with it for as long as he was there. And so he played with it, scrambled, solved. And then suddenly he came up with what we now call a parody. And he's like looking at that going, wait a minute, that's not legal. How did that happen? And they said, time to go home, and took the cube from him. And sent him home without giving him a chance to solve the parody. So that happened when that happened to me, because I had a 4x4 and my cube broke. I just had this unsolved puzzle in my head for months until I could buy another cube. He goes home, and with graph paper and colored pencils. No, parody is not trash. We'll talk about parody. Parody is awesome. So with his colored pencils and graph paper, he drew out what had happened, what the parody was, and then he mapped out just on paper how to fix the parody. It slows down by 10 seconds. Okay, you are dealing with a parody algorithm because you don't actually understand what a parody is. A parody is a lie. There's actually no such thing as a parody. So here's what a parody is. When you're solving and you get a parody, you discover, because you've probably using the reductionist method. Okay, and so when you get the parody, and then there's nothing you to do but the long parody algorithm to solve it at the end. I do corners first, then edges, and then centers. And so when I see the parody, I haven't done the centers yet. So